Hello everyone, and welcome to Adoptions from the Heart TV. I'm your host, Amanda Aliberti. Today we are sitting down with Christian, who is a social worker here at Adoptions from the Heart, and he's also an adoptee. I'm really excited for you guys to understand that as social workers, we also have our own experiences that play into how we counsel and we support. So welcome, Christian.
Thank you.
So Christian, start with just a quick overview of your story and your adoption journey.
Yeah, so I was adopted from Santiago, Chile. I came to the U.S. when I was a year old. I reconnected with I found my birth mother when I was about 20, and then I met my birth brother. He came to visit when I was 21 or 22, and then again when I was 23. Then when I was 26, I moved down to Chile to be closer to my birth family and get to know everyone a little more. So that's where I'm at today.
Sure. And when you came to our agency, what was your goal, expectation, how you would bring in your personal story in connection with open adoption, which is obviously, the foundation of Adoptions from the Heart?
To be honest, I was kind of against adoption and wanting to get into adoption social work. I thought it was something that was like for profit. You hear a lot of horror stories within adoptions.
Sure.
And growing up, I always felt like I had a price tag on me. But after I learned more about open adoption and what that means, and that there are agencies that practice open adoption, I thought, okay, this is something that aligns with my values and my morals, so that's what drew me to want to start working with an agency that does open adoption. And I think overall that's helped me get a better understanding and help for how to guide all members of the triad through open adoption.
Yeah. So what is it like for you when you're going into an initial meeting with an expecting parent who's pregnant and potentially considering adoption, or even a woman who just gave birth at the hospital, or a birth father who's trying to better understand his options when it comes to that child and placement? How do you bring your personal story of being an adoptee into those counseling sessions?
I think my own personal experience, and especially after meeting my birth mother, I had so many, growing up, adoptees, we have a lot of the what if questions. So I had invented a bunch of stories of why I was placed for adoption to begin with. So once I found out her reason and understood her pain that she had gone through herself, it gave me a lot more compassion and empathy to work with birth parents and expecting parents who are making this incredibly difficult decision. It's not an easy one, and that's something I got to learn firsthand when speaking with my own birth mother and hearing her story and how things went. I think also being in recovery myself, and I see a good amount of birth parents who are in active addiction. I have a firm understanding of that as well, so I think I really feel like I'm a safe space and kind of judgment-free. Everybody has their own story, and I'm just here to help them navigate the best options for them and their families.
Sure. And I know we've had birth parents that you've worked with comment on what it meant for them when they initially turned to Adoptions from the Heart, to have you come in and express what your experience has been as an adoptee and help them in transitioning from, I don't want anything to do with this adoption, to I do want openness. I do want my child to know who I am. Talk a little bit about that and what your experience has been.
Yeah, so my whole thinking is a lot of the times these plans are made last minute. They're not planned out way in advance, and even the pregnancy may not have been, it might have been accidental, not intentional, or planned out. So when I get to meet with the birth parents, the reasoning I go and I say, I think it'd be best if you keep an open adoption, because it doesn't mean that you have to have that contact with them. But in the future, if you change your mind, it's there for you. So I wouldn't want somebody to miss a chance to miss 20 years like I did of having connection with family. And also, again, hearing from my own birth mother of she wishes she could have had that with me. And the unknowns, I think, are the scariest part throughout the triad for adoption. So I think this gives us a little bit more stability in things that are known in adoption, which is already kind of like an unknown path.
Yeah. And what about when you're counseling adopted parents? Do you ever find that you're thinking about your own, say, childhood or growing up and your experiences? Does that play into how you try to better support adopted parents?
Yeah, so I like to support parents who are adopting and kind of explaining what are the possible outcomes that they can see through this, what are logical outcomes and things that we've seen as social workers
Sure.
in the agency. But I think most of the time we talk a lot about adoptive parents and birth parents, and we need to think about like the adoptee at the center of this conversation.
Yep.
Because they're the ones that don't have a say in any of this.
Yep.
So to speak up and kind of give the same presentation for the adoptee of here's an open adoption. If you want to reach out and have that connection, you can. If you don't, it's okay, and we'll go at your pace. So I think when I'm counseling adoptive parents, I'm saying that's like the best gift that you can give to your child here,
Yeah.
is to have that lifeline and communication, so that the choice is theirs and they have a voice in this matter.
Sure. And then finally, obviously, it's the adoptee that we want to make sure that we're thinking about long term. I know you are participating in our support group and helping to really build a community for adoptees to lean on each other. Talk to us about what that means for you, maybe things you didn't have that you wish you had, and one of your goals in working here at Adoptions from the Heart as an adoptee.
Yeah, so growing up, I don't think I was always even ready to speak about my own adoption, but I was also never placed around like a lot of other adoptees.
Mm-hmm.
So if I had just gotten my foot in the door a little bit earlier, I think I could have saved myself some, I guess, some pain and some hurt, and kind of grown up a little bit quicker than I did, and wouldn't have had to learn lessons like the hard way.
Sure.
I think this goes back to like counseling like adopting parents though as well, and saying in the future you're going to want to have this community, these resources available to you, so that you can provide the best help for your child.
Sure.
And I think as well as I think one of the biggest concerns adoptive parents have is what's going on with the birth parents. Are they in active addiction? What are they? I don't know. Will all of our visits be okay?
Like the stability of the birth
Stability,
parents
yes.
be able to participate in openness.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they're concerned for the child,
Sure.
thinking about the future, and I'm always thinking about like, okay, like I'd much rather have the adoptee have this opportunity,
Sure, yeah.
and then still have like avenues to say, okay, like I don't think I'm ready for a visit right now, as well as the parents saying, okay, maybe now's not a great time for a visit or communication, just in terms to safeguard everyone in this. So
Sure.
I think the adoptee support group, that's a great way that we're able to navigate through this and say to an adoptee, it's not your fault.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the way life is sometimes, but here's how we navigate it, because it doesn't make anything easier and it doesn't make anything more difficult. It just gives us more tools to navigate these different complex relationships.
Sure. Well, we really appreciate you sharing your experience as an adoptee, as a social worker. I know that here at Adoptions from the Heart, we value that many of our staff members come from all members of the triad. We have adopted parents, we have birth parents, we have adoptees, and I think that helps us in navigating our policies and procedures, and making sure that we support all members of the triad to the best of our ability. So thank you for all of your hard work and dedication. We really do value you here at the agency.
Thank you.
Well, thank you guys so much, and continue to tune in to future episodes here at Adoptions from the Heart TV.